Hi, Tamily. It's time for our fifth Ask Tamily interview. I can't believe we've already had this many. Feels like we really just started them. So today we are going to talk with Mara. Her Instagram name is mbswan3, and she's going to be joining in just a second. This is always the most critical technological moment for us. Sometimes it just doesn't want to. I'm clicking, but she should be joining in just 1 second. And we have some questions planned for her. But of course, you can type questions in live, and we'll make sure that we scroll through the feed and ask her everything. Hello!
Hi! Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us. We're very excited for your interview.
Thank you for having me.
Let me just turn up my volume and make sure we're good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
It seems like we're having like a little bit of connectivity situations going on, but hopefully that will straighten itself out in a moment.
I can hear you.
Okay. So it just seems a little bit blurry.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe we should reconnect if it doesn't straighten out. Are you able to see my picture okay?
I can see your picture. Can you see my picture?
Yeah, it's just blurry and your voice is kind of going in and out.
Okay.
And now we have a circle going like that. But it looks like people are joining. So let's just try to start with our first question and see what happens. So Mara, we wanted to start with our favorite question, which is, when and how did you start the Tracy Anderson method? Stupid Instagram's connectivity. I'm gonna try. That worked last week when we had an issue, so let me remember how to do that. Let's see. Okay, so she just needs to rejoin the conversation, and then hopefully our connection will be alright. It's funny you can do this with like people across the world and in other time zones, and it's at times flawless, and then other times it doesn't go well. But when we had Jen and she rejoined, that was fine. So here we go. With Mara will be joining in a second. Okay, so it's connecting. Hi.
Hi.
That's more clear, so I think we're probably good to go now.
Okay.
So let's start with our first favorite question, which is, when and how did you start the Tracy Anderson method?
I started when I first saw the infomercial 1,000 years ago with Gwyneth, and my husband was at league volleyball that night, so I was home and the kids were in bed, and the infomercial came on, and I just thought, I knew I had been having a hard time getting to the gym and maintaining a consistent workout after I had kids. And I thought, if Gwyneth is getting these results, and she's able to do this with just the hand weights, because at the time it didn't use the ankle weights yet, then I want to try it. So I was sold, and I bought it before the infomercial was over. And the product came, and I did it that whole summer, and I did it exactly how it was intended, with so many days on, so many days off. I did the muscular structure followed by the cardio, which I'm very cardio averse, but I did the cardio, and after the 3 months were done, I looked incredible. And so that was originally when I started with it. And then I always have struggled to maintain during the school year. So August or September would roll around, I would stop. and then the next summer would come and I would start up again.
Okay.
So that's how I got started with it.
So how long ago was that?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know. I don't know when Meta came out anymore. I still remember the infomercial, and I think Gwyneth was sitting on a couch, like in a white dress, and Tracy was with her, and the different women with the different shapes that they had worked with, they would flash up throughout the infomercial. But I don't remember how long ago that product came out.
So you were doing the method for quite a while before the whole Instagram community and everything, right?
Yes.
So when did you join Instagram, and how do you feel like that might have changed, your connection with the workout?
I started posting my workout videos this February. The videos themselves this February. I originally started just posting like the mat, my shoes, the weights. That was probably in December, because it's awkward and very weird to start posting your workouts online. It's strange. But you have to get comfortable with it. And that's how I really got comfortable with it was, here's my shoes, here's my mat, I did this or that today, here's my water bottle. And then finally it was around my birthday and I said, like, screw it, I'm posting a video. And at that point, though, it also had become clear to me that I had to create a separate account, simply because not everybody on my private account wants to see me working out every day. They don't care about daily workout videos or things like that. And I was really interested in connecting with the Tamily. And so then I created the public account in February. And then ever since then, I've just been posting my videos, and I work out and I post them. And before that time, I was still on Instagram all last year, following, different people and watching what they were doing, because I knew when I really got serious about it in January of 2017 that my goal was to stream, and my goal was to connect with the Tamily and be comfortable and confident doing that. So no matter what, I had always been like creeping and stalking on everybody too.
So who are some of the people in the Tamily that inspire you?
Everybody truly inspires me every single day, and they are a big part of the reason of why I can get to the mat. Originally, a long time ago, it had to be Loretta, Erica Boom, Carolina, definitely. I would say, and then Mountie Tam, another one, Peachy. And when I was completing Meta last year and starting continuity to help get ready for streaming, after I would finish the continuity exercises, I would do like 20 to 40 reps of everything Erica and Carolina had posted, just because I knew that their form was so good and strong. And then I was comfortable switching to streaming when I knew that I could do what they were posting, because I also wanted to start with Masterclass. I wasn't interested in progressing through with streaming simply because of the cost. I wanted the most bang for the buck, and I wanted to be ready to do that.
Right, that makes sense. That's a great strategy.
Yes.
Especially this month, we have so many new people joining the method, joining the Tamily, and joining Instagram. What's some of your advice for someone when they're brand new to the method?
I think when you're brand new, you need to really take it slow. And I say that because I think it looks easy. You have 3-pound hand weights, now we're using 5. You have 1.5 to 2.5 or 3, depending upon what you're using, ankle weights. And as opposed to like bench pressing so many pounds, or if you're working with like the ropes in the gym, or you're doing box jumps, when you look at it, it looks like it should be something that should be easy to accomplish. And I think when some of the new people have started, they realized it's not. So I think I really recommend taking it slow. Don't add weight if you're not ready. You really need to work on your form and getting comfortable with it, and then having confidence knowing that as long as you commit and you're consistent, your strength and your endurance will absolutely come along. but taking it slow. And I think when people look at, intermediate class and the moves that are posted, some of them it looks like, well, I should just be able to jump in and do that. But when you add that you're sometimes doing 30 or 40 reps, you're doing multiple different exercises, and you're doing it all while working with your body weight, it can be very deceiving. So always my recommendation to new people is take it slow. There's no shame if you do beginner. There's no shame if you do continuity. There's no shame if you do meta. There's no shame if you jump around every week. Do what you need to do, because you're doing this for you. You're not doing it for anybody else. And just have faith in yourself that the strength and the endurance will come, but give yourself that time, because it takes time. It's not overnight at all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's excellent advice. Especially because I think, with a lot of the kind of hype around streaming, like I would never have been able to jump into streaming, and especially into advanced. So that's perfect explanation.
Right. I agree with you. And even as we've done, even some of the moves this week in masterclass, I could not have done them a year ago. Even intermediate class, I could not have done them a year ago. There's just no way. And and I do think it looks deceiving, because it looks like, well, you're just working with your body, but you forget how much your body weight. My husband's being ridiculous right now.
That's what they're for.
No. You don't realize how you're really working your body, and that's why I just say you need to give yourself time and be patient with it.
Yeah. So what is your kind of workout plan at this point? Do you always do advanced? Do you ever try intermediate or beginners? And how do you?
At this point, Monday through Friday, I typically am up. My alarm goes off at around 4:30 every morning, and I'm in the basement by 5 during the week. And in the summer, I'm down there a little bit later, but I've always been a morning person. So at least during the school year, I'm always in the basement by 5, Monday through Friday. Mondays are harder for me, and so I will always say, if I need to do beginner, 30 minutes is better than nothing. You're always getting a good workout with beginner. You're always working on form. If I need to add extra weight, I will for the challenge. And then during the rest of the week, I will either do intermediate class or master class. I'm comfortable shifting back and forth between them, because for me, I have to keep my back as healthy as I can. And if a move aggravates me in one, then I won't continue with that class. I'll shift to the other one. And then I also have Monday through Friday, I have an hour. So I need to work through that hour strategically in the morning. For me to go and do an hour 10 or an hour 20 is typically not something I will do. So I have an hour of time, and what class is an hour that I can do. And then on the weekends, usually I will do a little more. And so, for example, I would do double classes this spring, and it's because I knew we were going to Hawaii, and I wanted to look as good as I could. We have the Vitality Week coming up in November. I know that those are 2-hour workouts. I want to be able to do the whole wealth of the workout. And so that's why I'm comfortable doing master class, and then I follow it with intermediate class. And I also challenge myself like that, because I know I can do it, and I am proud that I can do it. I reached out to the online studio a couple of months ago, just for their input into my strategy. And I recommend that for anybody who's questioning their strategy, reach out to the online studio, because they will absolutely respond to you and help guide you. And, through that exchange, we talked about how I, go between intermediate and master depending upon what's happening with my back. And we also talked about my diet. And the online studio also said I'm fine to do both of those and continue with that plan because it's working, and I don't need to just do intermediate all the time or master all the time. I can respond and continue to move through them. So I also am very comfortable and confident with my strategy too.
Yeah, that's definitely great advice from them, and a great point to reach out if anyone needs help kind of designing like what their plan is, and especially the centrics and everything, they can help with that too. Something that Kristen had posted as a question, and I think she kind of answered it for herself, but just want to know what your opinion would be. if there's a master class where there's some moves where you don't feel like you can totally do them, would you rather push yourself with the master class or say do the IMC where maybe you can hit every move in every rep?
For me, it would depend upon like my level of energy, and which absolutely has to do with my hormones. And it would also probably have to do with my mindset in the morning too. I typically will choose to challenge myself. So even if I'm struggling with some of the moves, I would just hold in there and try as hard as I could and push through, because my goal is I want to be able to the best of my ability, do all the moves that I can as best as I can every week. Um, I like the times when I can just go in the zone, which I can do with IMC this week. I can just go and dive into the music. I can do all the reps. I can do that pretty seamlessly. So I like the challenge, which is why typically I'll choose masterclass, even if I do struggle with some of the moves, because I want to challenge myself in that way. And I know that in that challenge, I'm building strength, I'm building endurance, which is a goal of one of my goals.
So, being that you are kind of one of the early AM people who work out, which is something I'm infinitely jealous of because I just can't figure it out. What
But
are
I'm mad with you, and you motivate me because I see your posts. I'm like, okay, Suzanne did it. I got to do it in the morning. We all motivate each other in different ways.
That's true. But especially maybe for some of our new people or people who might want to try to change to doing an AM workout, because it's definitely got its positives. What might be some tips that you would have?
My tip is to definitely follow others that you know are working out at the same time as you or a pinch before you. So for me, I know, Tam Fursu, Happy Lot, I know that those ladies have completed their workout a little bit before I have. I also know that Stara and Surrey are getting up at around the same time as I am every day, and they are exceptionally consistent. So even if I don't want to get out of bed, I know Stara and Surrey have already gotten out of bed and they're already working out. And so the fact that you have this online connection with people, it really helps, because they're there, they're already working out, they're already at the mat. And then throughout the day, I know others who they're going to get to the mat. And so no matter what, I'm confident that they've already hit the mat, they've worked out, they've done it there, they've posted it. And then even at the evening, you have worked out, Catherine has worked out. So surrounding yourself with people that are very consistent and that are getting up at around the same time of you, I find it exceptionally helpful. So last year, like truly, Charlotte, Happy Lot, Tam Fursu, those ladies got me out of bed every single day. And so did Star Curry, because I know, like, there's this little unit, but they are getting up at the same time as me, and that's just very helpful. And, so even this week, I know Darlene, she was on vacation. She was still getting up at the same time that I was. So it's just nice to know that all around the world, no matter what time you're choosing to work out, there is a group of people that's also working out at around the same time. Mm-hmm. And even though you're like alone in your home, you're not alone. You're never alone. And right. That's so sweet. Team Warrior Princess, thank you, Nicole. But it really, really helps. Like Nicole, I know you're working out in the mid-morning, like every day. Summer, she's working out in the middle of the morning as well. And so the fact that you have all of those little nuggets in your head, it makes a difference in helping you get to the mat. At least
that's an excellent point. Yeah, I will definitely scroll the feed for some motivation, but I didn't actually think about watching the people that might have just done their workout right before you, or having that connection with people at the same time. That is definitely helpful, and it's something that, this whole Instagram thing, it just takes it to another level. It's awesome to have this kind of community. Would you have any specific tips for people as far as doing the Tracy Anderson method while traveling?
Yes, I definitely keep my workout going when I'm traveling. And my biggest recommendation is to decide that either you're going to continue with it before you even go. So for me, I know it's a done deal. I'm working out. I plan for it. I plan for it with my family. My family knows this is happening regardless of whether or not they want me to. I am going to get up a little earlier than them and do it and find some way to work it in. Mornings have always been best for me, so even when we're traveling, I'm going to continue to get up in the morning and work out. I'm very mindful if we are flying, because leggings have different weights to them. So that's a consideration with when we are always close to the 50-pound limit when we travel and we fly. So I have to be really mindful and strategic then with the different leggings that I'm going to wear when I'm working out, because some are heavier than others. We also do a lot of water activity, and I get cold in the water easily, so I always will have Westbrook Limited Edition with me. And you learn that over time. If we're driving, I don't care. I will take everything that I possibly need: a mat, all the weights, the iPad, the iPod. I will take everything, and I don't care how heavy the car gets. It's a priority to me. And then I love being outside. So I will always, no matter where we are, I'll always look around to see how can I work out outside while we're on vacation. But the biggest thing is deciding ahead of time that you're doing it, because once I make a decision, that it's done. I'm absolutely doing it. There's no backing out of it. And my family knows it's going to happen too, regardless of whether or not anybody wants it to happen.
So on that note, how do your friends and family feel about the Tracy Anderson method and your dedication?
Well, that's interesting. Oh, hey, Natalia, you're working out. Get it, girl. So for me, well, last year was a little rough. My husband struggles with the price, and he feels that since it's a product, she's doing it anyway, it should be like free or $10, which is beyond ridiculous because people have to earn a living. And then he also feels that there shouldn't be. He's also a big proponent to just be able to go to the gym and work out in the gym. I had tried that for years after I had kids. It just didn't work out. And then the other pieces with my back, with the disc that I have that's almost herniated, traditional forms of fitness very much aggravate it. And for me to go to a gym, I learned that when I was lifting weights and I was engaging in those exercises, my back pain increased, and I truly can't have that. So it was kind of like, suck it up, I'm doing it. And then last year, it was, because I'm tired at night, because I get up at 4:30 in the morning, and I used to sit up with him and watch TV until about 11, 10:30 or 11 at night, and I can't do that anymore. And I honestly just don't care. I need to do this for me. I need to do this for my back health. I don't want surgery. I want to be a good example for my children. I've always worked out a lot. He knows that. So last year there was a lot of some tension around the workout, and he's absolutely reached a point of acceptance. And where he'll come down, and when I'm working out, he'll tease. Right now he was just in our window being silly. He absolutely thinks posting videos is very strange. He's not on any social media at all. And so he thought it's just wild. And it's very difficult for him. And then there was, you must be connecting with all of these 50-year-old men who are just going to come and take you away. And it's like, please, God, you are crazy. So when I met Michael, it was wonderful because clearly she's not a 50-year-old man that was coming to murder me.
Right.
He thought it was very strange, and it's taken like the full, over a year and a half for us to get to this point. And my children I hadn't really worked out consistently since Ian was born. Although before he was born, I worked out all the time. So for my children, there was that adjustment as well. I probably wouldn't take anything back. I would imagine that if we were to have a baby now, I would still give everything, and I would say I don't have the time, which is what I said before. But my kids have come a long way with, this is a priority for me, and this is what's going to happen. My friends, they love the results that I've had, and we talk a lot about it. And I've given them my meta DVDs and things like that. But a lot of them really prefer to go to a gym, go to Lifetime, take hot yoga, go to a Pilates studio. That's really what they prefer to do because they like the fact of I'm leaving my home and I'm getting that physical break, and that's important to them. Some of them follow this, MB Swan 3. Some of them follow me, some of them don't. For me, I've learned that even though I'm going down to the basement and I'm still in my house, I'm getting that mental break that I used to get when I would go to a health club.
Right.
Oh yeah, so it's definitely a process. It was not like so accepted and this is so great. It's taken them a good chunk of time to get really comfortable with it. And then there's the other piece of I have a 13-year-old, an 11-year-old, and an 8-year-old. So it's also mindfully modeling for them how to appropriately engage in social media at a time when, they have Instagram, they're on Snapchat, and I don't want anyone taking advantage of them or doing anything with them. So there's also the piece where we use it to have that conversation in our house too about who do you connect with, who follows you, who do I engage with. There are times when I delete comments if some jerk leaves something snotty on my feed because I don't want it there and I don't care what he thinks. And if people message you, who do you respond to, who don't you respond to? So it's also opened up that avenue of conversation in my house for my children, which I appreciate.
Absolutely. That's an interesting connection because, a lot of it, we can give examples to our children, or obviously I don't have children, but my nieces and nephews about the exercise, but it's also a great example about that appropriate social media engagement. That's a great point.
Yes.
What is something that motivates you to be able to stay consistent with this method? What is it about this method that you've found to be different maybe than other fitness methods?
Absolutely the results. I have done lots of forms of fitness, and when I was in my 20s, I worked out 7 days a week. I would probably bike 50 to 60 miles a week. I would do weights alternating upper body and lower body 4 to 5 days a week. I did Pilates 1 day a week and yoga 2 days a week. So I got like hardcore when I was in my 20s with the goal of I want to be as thin as I can be. Whereas now it's I want to be as healthy as I can be. But even when I was doing all of that, when I look at my arms and my shoulders, I don't believe I looked like this when I was younger. And it's shocking that I'm 45 and I have abs, like some ab definition. I don't ever recall having ab definition when I was younger. And then the biggest motivation for me is I have been unable to walk because of my back problem, and I've gone to the hospital and I've been given drugs and I've had an MRI. I've worked with a doctor. I've gone through physical therapy. I've done all those pieces. And it was back in 2016 when I discovered that my back actually felt better after I would do meta. And so for me, I also have to do this 6 to 7 days a week or I can't walk. So in November, this past November, my husband tore his gastroc, like 100% tear from his tendon, and I didn't work out those 4 weeks of November. And so from being pretty consistent from January until November, I had bought myself 2 weeks of time free. And so when I say that there's a specific angle, it's around a 45-degree angle, and if I'm unloading the dishwasher or if I'm shaving my legs or picking up a baby from a changing table, your body hits that angle and it aggravates where the disc problem is in my back. And thank you. So I learned that I live pain-free for the most part because of that, but I'm also buying time, which is why I will do double Tracy on the weekends, is I'm buying time, and I want to be able to, I know there will be times like when my husband tore his gastroc that I won't be able to work out, so I need to be able to build up as much time as I can with my back, and at the end of the day, I don't want surgery. I want to be able to try to take care of it as best as I can, and I've learned through this method that I can. So that's the number one motivation for me is I need to be able to walk. I need to be able to go to work. I got to be a mom, a daughter, a wife. I have to do those things. And as a result, I have to do this. If I ever weren't able to do this, I would probably need to go back to my doctor and talk about a treatment plan. Because right now, this is my treatment plan and it works for me.
That's fantastic. So you are planning on going to an upcoming Vitality Week, is that right?
Yes, I'm going to be at the one in November in New York, and I can't wait.
So exciting. That's going to be your first Vitality Week, correct?
Yes, that
And
will
is
be
it going to be also your first visit to a studio?
Yes, it's also going to be my first visit to a studio too, and I really wanted to go to that one because it was going to be at the studio, and I've wanted to get to a studio for a while, so I was thrilled when it all worked out.
That is fantastic. You will have to post tons of stuff when you're there.
I will.
Super exciting. So that will also be then your first opportunity to meet Tracy?
Yes, that will be my first opportunity to meet Tracy too.
Fantastic. Do you have any questions planned that you want to ask of her?
The number one that I want to try to ask her if we have time ahead of time is because I can get dizzy very easily when we spin. If we have time to talk beforehand, I want to ask her if she has any spinning moves planned, and just to let her know that I will either need to modify them or I'll need to sit them out. And for me, the dizziness, it is a strong consideration, and it is pretty significant to the point where I was contemplating, should I take Dramamine, which I can't take because it knocks me out, or Bonine, or try to do something in advance. And then I just kind of decided this week that if I was her, I would want the person that knew that they were struggling to and say, hey, I have this, I'm worried about it, this is what I'm thinking I'm going to do. So that is something that if I do have an opportunity to talk to her about ahead of time, I am going to talk to her, because I also don't want her to wonder, like, if a move comes up, why am I just sitting there, or why am I doing something different? But I know I need to do that, and I need to be comfortable doing that, and so that's what I have been working on lately, is my comfort with either I need to sit and move out, or I need to adjust it in some way where I don't, and I'm not a fitness expert, but where I don't feel that I'm compromising the integrity of the move, and I'm still engaged in it to the best of my ability. So that is, that's the number one question, or the number one piece that I want to talk to her about. And then I just want to say thank you to her, because truly I can walk because of her. And I'm indebted to her. She's my hero. And so I want to be able to tell her that too.
That will be such an awesome experience for you. That's definitely, I think, to me, there's a couple things that take this workout to another level, and certainly meeting Tracy and working out in the same room with her, and even just the visit to the studio, even if it, when Tracy's not the trainer, it's just, you just get to another level with the workout. So it's so exciting, especially when, people can get that opportunity. It sounds like your experience is going to be really cool. So another thing that we wanted to ask you, and we know a little bit of this from following you, but where do you live and what do you do?
I live in suburban Chicago, and I am a special educator. I've been a special educator my whole life, my entire career, and currently I oversee my district's transition program. So every individual in a school that has a disability, and if they are receiving supports from the school district for that disability, they can receive transition services through the district. And within Illinois, you can receive services up until you're 22. So I oversee our program for our young adults. And currently, in the past 4 years or so, the population that I've worked with, they've had moderate to severe profound disability, medically complex individuals, nonverbal individuals. The range of disability is represented in the program that I lead. And I also coordinate programming for a handful of our students in our district that are placed outside because of just the nature and the extent of their disability. They were not able to meet their needs to the best of our ability, and so they are placed then either in an alternative school, or they're placed residentially if their needs are so significant. So I coordinate programming for some of those individuals. And then also within my district, I lead curriculum writing at my level, and then also at the high school level as well with some of their courses too. So I have been a special educator my entire life, and that is my current position, what I do.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I know I noticed your post when you said that it was everybody's first day of school. And I thought that was, first of all, just a beautiful post and picture of you and your family. But that was like the kind of thing that stands out to me where I'm like, this is why I love these interviews, because I'm like, oh no, I know something real about her. And you just get to hear all the awesome things that people do within the Tamily besides this workout and our focus on health and wellness, that, you're making a difference in the community as well.
Yeah, that was on that day. It was my kid's first day of school, and my husband is a high school science teacher, so it was his first day of school in his district. And then within my district for our programming, we had already been back for a couple of days and had done institute days with teams. So I had already been back days with my team. They had already been there. And then when we got back from Hawaii that following Monday, I was already back at work. But that was also the first day for our students within my program as well. So it was everyone's first day that day. And I don't think that's ever happened to us before, where we all are with students or we're sitting in a classroom together on the first day. So that's why we took that picture on the driveway. It was really neat that it worked out that way this year for us.
Yeah, I really liked that post. That was an awesome picture of you guys, and just so cool to know something a little bit, more about your life and your family.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you consider important in your life that you would like to share with the Tamily?
Gosh, that's a great question. I don't know. I think, I think like quite, now everybody knows what I do, and I know there were people before who also knew what I did. And we've got our 3 children, the 2 boys and the little girl, and I know I'm really open about all of the back issues that I've had, and how, I came into the method. I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think there's anything else. I think I also post our food too, and I think everybody knows that, eating healthy and eating fresh is also something that's really important to me as well. And it's also, it's a priority for my family too, that they're eating as healthy and as fresh as they can. And certainly, yesterday I made a tray of Ghirardelli brownies, and we had those. But that's a priority for me, and I think that's something that a lot of people know too.
Absolutely. And I think that sometimes you can't accomplish everything at once. Like if someone is not eating clean yet and also not working out yet, they can't necessarily jump into both. But especially for the people that are getting involved in the workout this month, it is something that kind of comes along, at least, that you get that additional sense about your body and your health, and you realize like the workout isn't going to be enough if you're kind of destroying your results by continuing to not eat healthy. So definitely advice about like health and diet and everything like that, I think, is helpful for the new people as well. So what would you say is like your philosophy as far as eating clean, and what are some tips you might have for doing that, especially with a family with 3 kids?
Yeah. Well, I plan on Saturday when I go grocery shopping. I also plan all of our meals for the week, and I consider all of the activities because our kids have a lot of activities as well. And then when I cook for us, I always will do double because my boys eat a ton now that they're older, and we need to have leftovers or we just can't survive. And then I will also plan ahead to what can I make? No, it's not bad. They're delicious.
Cookies are good.
So great. Cookies are wonderful. And I will also, I will make a large amounts too that I can freeze and have in the freezer too. But I will always plan the meals for the week. I will always, I cook more at the beginning of the week, and I plan leftovers more for the end of the week. And then I also try to work very well with what is in season from a fruit and vegetable standpoint. Whenever we can grill, our grill is on because I love that. I don't eat red meat. I stopped eating it several years ago, but my family still does. And Lily is also a very selective eater, and she only eats hamburger. She won't eat steak or anything. And so with the cooking and the food plan that we have for our family, I try to make sure that we have a meal with red meat. Maybe 2 times a month I'll try, sometimes 3. But then I also want to make sure one of those is a hamburger, because I don't want Lily to lose anything that she currently eats. I need her to keep all those foods that she does eat. So I will always plan a hamburger meal once a month. And then I always try with that to balance. They sweet person. So instead of having a processed food for dessert, I will always try to have brownies or cookies or something here to help meet that need that I make fresh. Usually those are Oreos, because they're addictive Oreos, so you can always find Oreos in my cabinet. And then we have my kids are saying hi. We always have a fresh apple on our island, and there is always apples, oranges, pears, mandarins, mangoes. They're big mango eaters, pineapple. So that's always on our countertop. There's always berries in the fridge. There's always grapes in the fridge, because they love grapes too. So that's always a priority for me, that we always have fruit available in the house too. And then I will always have a healthy. We're back. I always make a healthy snack, and then I will always try to make a banana bread or something, so I have options available too. And I know it's cutting in and out. It says a poor connection.
Yeah, it's okay though. Your voice has been pretty consistent, I think, even if the picture's going in and out. There was a question kind of related that I wanted to scroll through and ask you. From Nicole, when did you begin IF, and was it really tough in the beginning? And I hope we haven't lost Mara. We have a little spinning circle. Hopefully that'll just last for a second.